Eric was a 15-year-old boy. He was very upset after his mother passed away. His father worked the night shift, so he didn't spend much time with him. Eric gradually stopped talking to his friends as well. He would sit alone in his class and just draw in his book. One day, a new student named Michael joined Eric's class. Michael was a very shy-looking boy. His brown hair covered his entire forehead and his blue eyes shone through his hair. After the introduction, he came and sat with Eric. Michael tried to talk to Eric, but Eric didn't talk to anyone. He ignored Michael and bowed his head to draw in his book. After a while, the school bell rang and all the children started going home. Eric also got on his bicycle and left the school. Then he saw some boys bullying Michael outside the school gate. Michael called Eric for help, but Eric ignored him and rode away on his bicycle. But after reaching a distance, Eric felt very bad. He kept thinking of Michael asking for help. He went back to school, but when he got there, he saw that no one was there. Then Eric saw Michael riding his bicycle on a path. The same boys who were bullying him were following him. Eric also followed Michael to help him. While riding the bicycle, he came to a path with a forest on both sides. Eric thought that he might have lost his way and decided to turn back. But as he was about to turn, he heard some movement from one side of the forest. Eric gathered his courage and went near those bushes. His soul was scared. He saw a very scary-looking wolf eating a human being. Seeing this, Eric's body became completely numb. He looked carefully and saw that the body that the terrible wolf was chewing on was none other than the boy who was bullying Michael outside the school. Eric slowly started to go back. Then his foot got stuck on a dry twig lying below, which made a loud noise. Hearing that noise, the wolf turned back and jumped straight at Eric. Eric was trying his best to save himself from the wolf. Just then, a car passed by on the road and the wolf suddenly left Eric and ran towards the forest. Eric immediately stood up and ran away from there in a panic. He quickly informed the police and took them to the same place. But neither was there a wolf there now, nor anyone's body. The police thought Eric was joking with them and scolded Eric and sent him home. The next day at school, Eric went to talk to his favorite teacher, Mr. Black. After Eric's mother's death, Professor Black had given Eric a lot of emotional support. Eric was sure that even if no one else understood his story, Mr. Black would understand. Eric told him what had happened to him, and Mr. Black was surprised. He closed the door of his room and took out an old book from his cupboard. Eric couldn't understand anything, but then Mr. Black opened the book and said that he didn't think Eric had seen an ordinary wolf. Rather, it was a werewolf. Mythical creatures that live in human form, but become a terrible wolf when they lose their temper or on a moonlit night. Hearing this, only one thing was going on in Eric's mind. He had gone behind Michael on that path and the boy who was killed yesterday was bullying Michael. Thinking all this, Eric started to feel that Michael was a werewolf and that he had attacked him yesterday. Since that day, news of people going missing started coming almost every day. One day Mr. Black told Eric that they had to kill the wolf. Mr. Black said that Eric had already faced the wolf, so the wolf would definitely come to hunt Eric, and before he did, Eric should kill him. After school, Eric went to Mr. Black's house with him. Mr. Black gave him coffee to drink, but as soon as he drank that coffee, Eric started feeling dizzy and everything started to look blurry. He saw Mr. Black going towards his bedroom. It was very late at night and the moon was also visible. Eric was watching all this in a state of unconsciousness when suddenly there was a loud noise from Mr. Black's bedroom. Eric immediately got up and went to the door of his room in an unconscious state. The door was locked from inside. Eric couldn't understand anything, so he started calling Mr. Black loudly and knocking on the door, but Mr. Black didn't respond. Eric could hear the sound of a wolf growling from inside. Eric peeped inside the room through the keyhole and his senses were blown away. Eric's eyes widened in horror as he watched Mr. Black transform before his eyes. His hair grew long and thick, his teeth became sharp and pointed, and his nails turned into long, sharp claws. In a matter of seconds, Mr. Black had turned into a fearsome wolf. Eric realized that the werewolf he had seen was not Michael, but Mr. Black himself. But before he could do anything, Mr. Black broke down the door and attacked him. He bit and scratched Eric, who screamed in pain. Eric flailed his arms and legs, trying to fight back, and his hand hit Mr. Black's lighter. Eric quickly grabbed the lighter and flicked it on. The wolf recoiled in fear of the flames, and Eric began to set fire to everything around him. The wolf, afraid of the fire, fled the scene. When the police arrived at Mr. Black's house, they found it engulfed in flames. Eric was lying unconscious in a corner. When he woke up, he told the police everything that had happened. But Mr. Black was now one of the missing people. The police found nothing in their investigation, and they didn't believe Eric's story. But after that day, no one else in the city disappeared. Eric had escaped death by a hair's breadth, but he would never forget the terrifying experience he had gone through. What do you think happened to Mr. Black?